I know, like the love, looking at other people, you can, if they like annoy you or get you angry or something like that, you could look at them and see Christ in them, and that like makes losing my train of thought. So like when you're looking at someone, you see Christ in them, and you see them as love, and that just what they're doing, you see the positives. Like you can see what they can be, you can see what they're made to be, who they are. Yeah.
I even discussed this in if you into podcasts, have a listen. But I discussed this because people used to before. If you annoyed me, you're gone. It's simple. That's the way I used to do things. But the person who's annoying you is teaching you something. I learned patience. I learned how to detach, and it was the hardest thing I probably had to do, but it was the best decision I made, to stick with it and detach myself, because you have to separate the person with their actions. I had to separate the person who's annoying me and doing all this stuff. I have to separate the two. Their actions and who they are not the same. Yeah, I really like the point that you mentioned, Cody.
Thank you, brother, for that. And Mighty Basa, thank you, sis, because Sizzle reminded me when you did a children's story and you mentioned that, if someone annoys you, you will go after that person. And so for me, that was like, I'm just as bad as, I'm like that, because of the whole react. Yeah. But it's words of wisdom. Thank you, sis, for Mighty Bas for saying that. You got to look at the good of the person. That person's teaching you, patient. And so, I'm like that now. You can't straight away negative react to what's the thing that's happened. You got to look at the good of that person, and that teaches a lot.
Also, understanding where the behavior comes from. People don't just behave rudely for the sake of behaving rudely. I wasn't, it comes down to hurt people. Because I used to behave like that. I behaved in a horrible way towards people because I was hurt. And that's why with even people, the kids I work with and everyone I encounter, I examine them and I listen to what they say. And you detach yourself. Don't take things personal, because it's not about you. It's really about them and where they're at within themselves. And they're just expressing that at you.
It's really important to first understand that you are loved first, that before you can look at your brother or your sister and identify them with that, because you can't see them for who they really are if you first don't see it for yourself. Yes. Sorry.
Keep going. We're on the roll.
And I think it's where that verse comes in. You hypocrite. You see the log in your brother's eye, but you can't see it in your... Do you know that verse? Yeah, I don't know where it is. But that's exactly what my life used to be. I used to blame everyone else for my situation. Never took responsibility. And it was within me the whole time. The log was in my eye just as much as it was in my brother's eye. Yeah. No, I'm being serious.
No, it's good to be transparent.
But that Bible verse where it says that, we love because God loved us first. So we have to also be that example to others, They will not have the ability to love if you don't love them first.
There's something I stand by all the time. Whenever I meet people for the first time and so forth, and they come and ask me for advice and so forth, and I always tell them, I say, look, in this very world, we always we judge ourselves according to our intentions, but we judge others according to their actions. It's very profound right there. Whenever you're measuring yourself, you always think, what was I trying to do? Whatever you did could have been the worst thing in the world, but if you can justify it in your head, you say, my intentions were good, so this is not that bad. But when you look at other people, you never ask, what was the intention? And that's very interesting, because imagine in a relationship, someone does something to somebody. Instead of someone reacting, they go, what were you trying to do? What was your intentions? That changes the whole situation. That changes the whole situation. You did this, you did that. Let me not look at behavior. Let me look at intentions. And let's stop working from the layer of behavior, and let's start working on a layer of intentions. And you will see that most of the time, what people are trying to do, they're trying to figure a way out where they can express themselves to you so that you understand what they're going through. That's usually all it is. All it is people are trying to find a way to express themselves so that people understand what they're going through. And so it goes to different degrees. Because why? Sometimes someone might express themselves with words. People don't understand her. Then she raises her voice. People don't understand her still. Now she feels like if I throw a table, so it might get people's attention. And throwing table doesn't work as well. See, that you guys that work in juvenile with kids, that's how he climbed up. Now throwing a table didn't work. So, okay, what level can I go in? Let me throw a chair, throw a table. 2 things. And is that working? Alright, that's getting people's attention. I'm going to stop right here. If it's not getting people's attention, let me add more disaster to it. Throw a chair, throw a table, swear a couple of people, push some people. Is that getting attention? If it's not getting attention, I can climb a little better. Get a knife, get this, get that. Steal this, and so forth. And it keeps climbing up. It's because people didn't just become what they are now. It was a series of, let me express myself. Understand me, understand me, understand me, understand me. And every time they felt like they were not understood, they went to an extreme level of expression. And so we don't think about that stuff. We don't judge others according to intentions. We see them and we say, behavior bad. If behavior equals bad, and now we try to work into it. Okay, how do we do behavior modification for somebody else's life? But behavior modification is always temporary, never permanent. Because the intention will still be there. And if the person is still not understood, they will still climb to an extreme state. They might be from a different angle, but they will still get back to where they were before. And so we look at an action or look at a behavior and we say, this is bad behavior. And we put the person down and we blame them, we shame them. And then we tell them how they can change that behavior. But you don't need to change anybody's behavior. Matter of fact, people don't need your help to change their behavior. The behavior is just a result of the roots that is rotten in their hearts. That's all it is. The behavior is just the end result. Don't change the end results. Go back to the very beginning and change the cause. And that's how God deals with us. He never looks at actions and so forth. He doesn't look at your behavior. No wonder why he said there is no condemnation. Because condemnation has to do with what he's talking about in 1 John 5 here. Has to do with a fear expressed on you, which has to do with punishment. Punishment of what? According to your behavior. You didn't meet this certain behavior, so we shall impose fear on you that you may be punished. But God ain't about that. He's all about returning back to the roots of who you are and teaching you. Matter of fact, we punish ourselves more than God punishes us. Matter of fact, God doesn't even punish anybody to begin with. And that statement, a lot of people might say, "Whoa, that's not wrong. He educates those who he loves." But you'd be surprised God's technique of education is always rooted with the beginning. And now I understand why when the Pharisees will always come and look for Jesus to ask him questions on how to punish a certain person, how to blame or condemn a certain person, Jesus will always look at them and say, "It wasn't so in the beginning. This wasn't the state in the beginning. This was the beginning. You're trying to do this now, but do you know what the beginning looked like?" Always trying to take us back to the original intended purpose, which is the intention. And so now that we've gone through this, we're now going to move into the next section, which is our game time. In a game we've been playing lately, and this game is called What to Do. Act or react. How? What should I do? And so in this game, the way it works is I go through a series of questions or scenarios, and we discuss around the table of what you would have done in that situation and how you would have acted or reacted, or and then we discuss on how to act in that situation when placed in that very situation. We left on the scenario we left from last week. Was a very, very profound scenario, very deep. I gave you guys time to go and reflect on it, so we can go back through it again this week. And so we're gonna start from where we left off last week. And so this was a scenario. The scenario was that people in a relationship. There's a couple in a relationship, and your partner cheated, and the scenario essentially is my partner cheated on me. It was all their fault, and I believe it's all their fault. But now, after time has gone past, that same partner wants to come back and become civil. They want to be civil with you. They did wrong to you. Now they want to return and become civil. And this is a scenario that happens in people's life every day. And usually people run away. Some people run away. Some people run to friends and ask, "What should I do?" And there's all different types of advice. Now we're going to answer these questions according to what we just learned. Love. How does a person act in this situation? The person who has been hurt by somebody who has cheated on them. Now that same person wants to return in their life to just be civil with them. What should they do? There's someone out there in the world asking, "What should I do?" Let's get some word. What should I do?
Just be civil or to like get back together?
No, this is just civil. That's all he wants. He just wants to be civil.
First, you have to have compassion, and just you do have to forgive, and you have to look past what they did, because it still doesn't change who they are, which is love. And peace is good. Peace is good to have in all your relationships.
You enjoyed our content? Thank you. If you want more, follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and our website for more. If you love what we do, support us on Patreon, Subscribestar, Crypto, and all links in the description below. Hey, RCTV, peace out.